Recording. Perfect. All right, so to kick off, Connor, the presidential candidate, you're going to introduce yourself and just provide a brief overview of your campaign, and you'll have 2 minutes. So whenever you're ready, I'll start the timer when you start.
Hey everyone. My name is Connor Sokolowski. I am running again, so I guess the third time now to be the junior class president next year. I am very much focused. I've kind of broken down my platform into 3 main goals. So the first one is to really continue this huge diversity push that AJ and Lonnie have kicked off the ground this year. So right now I'm also working with the Police Policy Project team and establishing a student advisory board to open up a direct line of communication with WMPD and kind of working with the city along with that, because they're establishing something similar as well. And so that's something I hope to take into next year. I'm also really hoping to emphasize sustainability on campus. I had kind of this pet project idea about establishing like this green fund for students to apply for so that they could pursue like sustainable projects on campus without having to go through all this green tape. I know there's something similar called the Green Fund, trying to simplify it for students because they need sponsors there. The last thing I really also want to focus on are any kind of partnerships with the city. So I've recently taken on a position as a planning commissioner for the city of Williamsburg, and I'm hoping to work jointly with them to pursue some city and university aspects to make campus life better for students and around town in general. So good luck, everyone.
All right, thank you so much, Connor. So now we're going to move on to the senatorial candidates. We're going to have each one introduce themselves and provide an overview of the campaign. You guys will have up to 1 minute, but you don't need to use the entire time. So first will be Eugene Lee.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Eugene Lee. I'm one of the 4 current class senators for the class of 2023. And with your support, I hope to remain as such for the 2021-2022 school year. So for the past 2 years, just a brief overview of what I've done. I've been proud to represent the class of 2023, but not only the class of 2023, but for the broader William & Mary campus as well. Whether it was working on diversity and inclusion awareness, more specifically for the AAPI and Indigenous American communities on campus, or serving as chairman of the finance committee this past session, and increasing financial transparency and ensuring that each of your student activity fee dollars are spent properly. I've always had, first and foremost, the class of 23 always in my mind, and that has really never changed and will never change. So with your vote, I promise to continue and expand this work that I've been doing, and I hope that every single student feels welcome and safe on our campus. So please vote for Eugene Lee for your next class senator.
Thank you, Eugene. Karan.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Kiran Mangala, and I'm running for senator of the class of 2023. So first off, I'd like to thank the Elections Commission for holding this and all of you candidates up here and everyone who's here. So I'm running for senator because I have a very good comprehensive plan on what I think can make our community stronger. And so my campaign platform deals with 3 major things. The first one is inclusion, transparency, and leadership. So under the idea of inclusion, I want to definitely take a look at making sure that the referendum that was passed by the students about building renaming is at the forefront, and it's something that we push further for the Board of Visitors to consider. But beyond that, I also think that we need to take further steps to denounce hate speech on campus and make sure that everyone feels accepted on our campus. I also have an idea for a bill that I'd like to have that puts notifications on to-go food that denotes religious dietary restrictions, so people feel that they're very included in our campus. I also believe in transparency and the idea of monthly update memos from the student assembly. And under the idea of leadership, I've held multiple positions in student organizations on campus, and I believe that I have a great pulse on what our community needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Maheen.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Maheen Saeed, and I have been a senator for the past 2 years and enjoyed it immensely, and it really has been my passion on campus. I'd like to thank everyone who's here today, but I've talked a lot about what I've done in the past, and I want to talk about what my plans are for the future. And for me, that includes being the best advocate that I can for people at William & Mary. And that means elevating the voices of people who aren't represented here. And so that doesn't mean being a stagnant advocate. It means being an advocate who goes out, reaches out to people, and listens to their opinions as opposed to waiting for people to come and talk to you. So that's really been at the forefront of what I'm doing currently and going to continue to do. And so with that, it includes expanding how William & Mary treats and how William & Mary accounts for people with disabilities on campus. And with that, it also includes the implementation of things like a Disabilities Ambassadors Program. I've been working with an initiative to divest from fossil fuels. And I also am somebody who has dietary restrictions. And I have actually been working with some senators on kind of expanding on the food options that we have on campus. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Shauna?
Hi, everybody. My name is Shauna. And I'm so excited to be running for re-election for senator. As some of you guys may know, I'm passionate about diversity, inclusivity, and transparency. Those are the things that I base my platform on. It's very hard to ignore the things that are happening in minority communities right now around the nation. As a minority student myself, there are some things that I've experienced on campus that not a lot of people will and that they know about. Representation is very important in the student assembly. And just working with SRI and working with the orientation aid to help broaden the orientation aid guide about protesters' rights and diversity and everything that should be inclusive for students on campus. Those are some of the things that I'm important about. And lastly, transparency should always be a top priority with student assembly and administration. There should be a trusting environment that all students can be a part of. And yeah, those are some things that I'm important about. Thank you.
Thank you. And then finally, Owen.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be with you all tonight. My name is Owen Williams. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a government and history major here at the college. I've also had the pleasure of serving as one of your class senators for the last 11 months. Throughout that time, I have been an extremely productive senator in SA, as evidenced by the 10 bills and counting that I have sponsored or co-sponsored, with multiple more on the way this month. These bills have included some of SA's most important initiatives throughout the last session, including legislation responding to police brutality and systemic racism, supporting remote students, the 7 athletics teams that were scheduled for elimination last semester, as well as supporting the AAPI community and focusing on environmental sustainability, administrative transparency, and supporting students with disabilities. I also serve as SA's Chair of Public Affairs, in which I lead the committee that is charged with working with the City of Williamsburg, the school administration, and Board of Visitors. I'm excited to answer any questions that you all may have, and I hope I can earn your vote on April 1st.
Thank you. So as previously mentioned, we're going to be rotating this speaking order going first. So I'll just let you know who will be going first for each question. And then if you guys can just try to remember the person who went before you, so you'll kind of know where you're speaking, when you're going to be speaking. So just as I said before with the questions, after I read each question, there's going to be sort of like a 20 to 30 second reflection period for all the candidates to think about their answers. And then each candidate will then have up to 1 minute to answer the questions. So the first question, and Karan, you will be going first for this one, is how will you prioritize elevating student concerns to the William & Mary administration? And how will you work with them to ensure that those concerns get resolved? So I'll start the timer now. Okay, Karan, whenever you're ready, you'll have up to 1 minute.
Thank you for the question. So my response would be that being in SA, it's definitely a two-way street of communication. We as senators on SA have to listen to student input. And I do this in multiple ways. And I would plan on doing this in multiple ways by listening to fellow students and even having events where they can come and speak to me, such as office hours, for example. But in this two-way street, we also have to look at our role with administration. Now, I believe that it is very important for us as SA senators to not only have a pulse on what we want as a school community and as a class, but be able to articulate that to administration, such as the athletics department, the Board of Visitors, and President Rowe herself. I believe that we as senators need to take these issues to the administration and show them the student support behind them. Then we can take these ideas that we've talked about with administration and bring it back to the students and give them a clear way to understand this through my previously suggested monthly update memos to the student body so they can understand issues that affect all of them.
Thank you. Maheen, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, thank you for the question. And I think that was a really good response, Karen. But I just wanted to talk about something. I wanted to reiterate what I said in my platform. For me, the biggest part of being a senator is being an advocate for the students. And that means I can't put words in people's mouths. And I don't want to either. I want to listen to your opinions and I make the best effort that I can. I'm fairly active on my social media and, I'm looking and I'm watching and I'm elevating those concerns to admin already. And so a really big part of that, for example, right now, I'm working on a disabilities initiative and elevating the concerns that students with disabilities have to organizations on campus as well as admin, and that includes SAS, and their inability to kind of provide substantial, their ability to provide, okay, I'm going to move on from that, but basically what I'm trying to say is I'm listening. I've been listening since day one, and I'll continue to listen. I have the proper connections in admin and throughout student assembly. And, I'm already working on initiatives and I don't want to stop now. So thank you.
Thank you. Shauna?
Yeah, so I think the connection between administration and student assembly is very important. This year I applied to be a president's aide and I actually serve as a president's aide now. So I already have that direct connection with the administration, and serving on organizations such as being an orientation aide or being a peer advisor. I hear students' concerns all the time, and being able to talk with Catherine Rowe directly helps me convey everything that needs to be done on campus, constantly asking people what's wrong, what could be changed, what are the problems going on. Just constantly trying to elevate the school is something that we need to keep doing and be persistent about.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Owen?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think the best way to work with admin is to elect someone who's done it before. As I said in my opening statement, I'm currently the chair of public affairs, and per the code and constitution of the Student Assembly, I'm in charge of working with administration, the Board of Visitors, and the City of Williamsburg. I was present at the February Board of Visitors meeting. I was one of the only senators that was there, and I've been an active communicator, having met with the president, the provost, and multiple deans this year throughout my first term in SA. I think we need senators who have those pre-existing relationships going into our crucial junior year. But I think also we need to make sure that we're straddling these relationships. We're working with admin when they do good and we're fighting back when they do wrong. You can't be fully one way or the other. And also, I think we do need to work on our communication, getting the results of these meetings out to the student body. I think too often we gatekeep this information, and I think that's not a good practice in being open to the student body. And I can just say that I've been an active listener for students throughout the last year. My inbox is open 24/7, and you can reach out to me at any time and I'll answer your concerns immediately.
Thank you. And then finally, Eugene.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking that question. I think one of the job requirements for this position is that you have to be an active listener, and you have to be a voice for your constituents as well. So that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years. On social media, through my email, I've always been open for people to message me, and I've had multiple people message me on different issues, whether it was different things that included the pass-fail policy, which I'm working with currently with another senator to try and get that going again for this semester as well. Working with attending the disability forum for students with disabilities and listening to the concerns that they may have so that we can voice it to SAS and the different administrators that are responsible for implementing these things that students with disabilities need. And then just recently listening to the concerns of our APIA community when there was outrage about what happened in Atlanta and the need for some sort of action, some sort of voice from SA. And I'm really proud to have authored one resolution and co-sponsored another that really did this for the students.
Thank you. Thank you all candidates for your response to the question. We're now going to move on to the next question. So again, there will be a 30-second reflection period before you'll be answering. And Maheen, you'll be going first for this question. The question is, what specific initiatives do you all have in mind related to diversity and inclusion? Okay, Maheen, whenever you're ready, you'll have up to 1 minute.
Yeah, so that was also a really, really good question. So I want to start off by saying the unique perspective that I provide to Student Assembly in William & Mary as a whole. So I am a POC and a woman of color. I have dietary restrictions and I am a member of the Muslim Student Association on campus. So I definitely understand what it means like to be a minority group on campus. But I firmly believe that diversity should be an initiative that is approached from like all levels. So that means, neurodiversity or disability diversity, hidden and seen. And so the initiatives that I'm currently working on and will continue to work on include a disabilities initiative in Student Assembly, and I've been kind of spearheading it with some other senators, including Owen, and we have some really great relationships with people on campus. That being said, I also was a co-sponsor on the resolution, the AAPI, the Stop AAPI Hate resolution that was just recently passed. And I think there's no better way to elevate the voices of students and minority groups on campus than electing members of those communities as student assembly representatives. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Shauna?
Yeah, thank you. First, I do think representation is very important, as Maheen touched on. It's essential to have people that represent these communities, that know what the struggles are, know what we're dealing with. And I think one way that we can do that is creating an ongoing forum about race on campus, race and diversity, what everybody's thoughts are, what they think could be improved. Maybe implementing an anonymous system for reporting and discussing bias or discrimination and aggressions on campus. So there's not so much of a pressure of, oh, they're gonna know that it was me, or keeping it anonymous for everybody to talk about. And celebrating these events, celebrating Black History Month, celebrating Heritage Month, all of these months that celebrate all these cultures, all these traditions, and just emphasizing that it's okay to be different, it's okay, we're inclusive, all these different things that could help with creating this trusting environment between the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Owen?
So as Maheen alluded to, we recently last night just put on a disabilities forum that we worked on with multiple essay and non-essay students from those communities. And I think that's really what we need to continue doing. We need to incorporate those affected student populations in the decision-making process and tear down the wall between student assembly and non-student assembly students. I think these forums are important because they elevate some of the most impactful conversations regarding these issues. And I think that education is not always the answer when it comes from the top down. And we need to, because we in SA, we talk too much, and I think we need to do more listening sometimes. And we had multiple members of admin there. It wasn't just student assembly that was listening, but we also had some that really needed to be there and weren't. And I think we need to hold those members of administration, we need to hold their feet to the fire when they act inappropriately. And I think we can expand these series of forums and have them including with LGBTQ plus students, BIPOC students, international students, and AAPI students.
Thank you. Eugene?
Yeah, thank you so much. I believe that when we have these important conversations on diversity, inclusion, awareness, it's important to elect people who can experience what those communities of color have experienced and to be able to confidently be a voice for them as well. And I think my record has shown that I have tried to be at the best possible voice for communities of color, especially the AAPI community here on campus. We saw that with my authoring of the Solidarity with the Asian and Asian American Communities resolution, which first highlighted the attacks against the community in the beginning of the pandemic. And then along with Maheen and a bunch of other senators, we co-sponsored the Stop AAPI hate resolution, which similarly did the same except for 2021 because it's an ongoing issue. I've also had a focus on the Indigenous peoples community here on campus and the highlighting the important history that they have on campus as well. And I've done that with the sponsoring the AISA Bradfordton Week Recognition Act, which committed Student Assembly to supporting this week every single year so that we will not be forgetting important people of color and communities that are on campus.
Thank you. And then Karan.
Thank you for the question. So as a person of color on campus, I understand that William and Mary has had a problematic history with race, especially race relations on our campus. And I think that SA can do more than just pass bills about this, but we can actually create a culture around it and work towards more diversity and inclusion of everyone. Inclusion is my #1 issue, and that's why I put it first in my platform. In terms of racial inclusion and diversity, I want to push for more referendums so everyone feels involved and has a say on campus about how they feel and how we can create a better environment for them. Additionally, I also want to encourage and push for the reparations committee that has been created in SA to have a stronger role and that everyone is involved in it and that everyone supports it as well. But beyond that, I also want to take a look at religious groups on campus as well. And this includes denouncing anti-Semitism and other forms of religious discrimination on campus. And this also accommodates for dietary restrictions due to religious dietary needs. And finally, I also want to address the LGBTQ community. I believe that we need to denounce homophobia in all forms and try and push for more initiatives to bring in LGBTQ people and speakers for our campus. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your answers to the questions. Again, I really appreciated those. So moving into our third question, and Shauna, you'll be going first for this one. According to the Monash University of Australia, intercultural competence is defined as, quote, the ability to function effectively across cultures, to think and act appropriately, and to communicate and work with people from different cultural backgrounds, both at home and abroad, end quote. Can you expand on what intercultural competence means to you personally and how that will be applied to your work if elected? Okay, Shauna, whenever you're ready.
Hi, thank you for that question. This actually goes like right to home. My mom, she's from Africa. And so we bring in a lot of cultures and traditions that are different from my fellow friends. And I definitely felt sometimes that I wasn't accepted because of my differences. And that's why I stress diversity so much. It is so important to feel included in the area in order to express yourself, in order to feel happy and just loved on the campus. So listening to others when they're offended is a very big thing, not negating somebody else's emotions, saying that it's not real or that you're too sensitive. Listening to others when they're offended and making the adjustments properly. That's a very important thing. Being inclusive of others, always putting others first and putting others' feelings first before you say something. And if you say something wrong, learn about it and make the adjustments properly.
Thank you. Owen?
So I would say what intercultural competency means to me, it's during your work as a senator, you're not just advocating for communities when it affects you personally, but you're representing everyone. You know, we represent the class of 2023, and we have so many diverse student perspectives within that group. You know, I am a member of the LGBTQ community, but I've also been a leader on initiatives for BIPOC students, international students, remote students, AAPI students. You know, I think you'd be hard pressed to find a group that I haven't supported throughout my time as a senator. I've done the work. I've been part of the Academic Diversity Project and done some work for the Police Policy Project. You know, we need people that have, we're going into our junior year. You need to have shown that you do the work on campus, but you also need to recognize that we are not the only solution. You know, being an SA, it does not make you an expert, but it just makes you a listener. And you need to demonstrate both that listening and that experience.
Thank you. Eugene?
Thank you. And great responses from the candidates who spoke before me. To me, intercultural competency is something that I've already shown, and will continue to show in the next, as your senator. And in the past 2 years, I've done so already. You know, as Owen has said already, you know, it's very hard to not work with one of these cultural groups, whether it's your own class, whether it's the BIPOC community, whether it's LGBTQ plus community, or whether it's your own culture that you identify with. There is almost always going to be a bill that affects one of those communities, and learning about them, reaching out to them, and being a proper voice to them, not only when it just suits you, but when they need you most. And that's really important. I think that's what I've done for the past 2 years, and I will continue to do so for the class 2023 and for the greater William area.
Thank you. All right, Kiran?
Thank you. So as a person of color growing up in a predominantly white high school, I learned a lot about being othered and feeling alienated by my community. But I also learned a lot about getting to know other people and understand their experiences and get to know other people's experiences so I can relate myself to them. Now, there's a Vedic saying that I always like to say, that true knowledge comes from not what you know, but what you don't know, and addressing those ignorances. So I truly believe that with my background of being very involved in different clubs on campus, including multicultural clubs such as SASA and other organizations, along with my involvement in other organizations and clubs, I can truly bring all of these together and create an environment where we all understand our ignorances, but we have a chance to talk it out with one another. And I think that's something that we can prioritize as SA, is having events where we bring clubs together, bring multicultural clubs together, and have people talk with each other and understand the other sides, so we can all get a nuanced understanding of what our fellow classmate truly believes and different values that everyone holds. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Maheen, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, it was a really great question, and thanks for all of the wonderful responses. So for me, intercultural competency means the ability to understand and appreciate the value of each diverse culture and community on campus. That being said, I am a POC, and I've had a lot of the experiences that we're talking about. I also grew up in a predominantly white area, and I'm Pakistani American, but I kind of diverge in that opinion that even though I am a POC, I'm always listening and learning. And that's the most important part of cultural competency and intercultural competency in general, being open-minded, non-judgmental, compassionate, and there's always an opportunity to learn. And even though I do feel like I have exhibited these qualities of being culturally competent, and I'm actually involved with a lot of initiatives on campus to implement cultural competency training, I am such a firm believer that we are always learning. And so I'm always open to new discussions, new ideas, the opportunity to learn more from others. And I always will continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you all for those answers. We're gonna move into our second to last question for the evening. Excuse me. The Student Assembly has been making efforts to provide constituents with spaces for discussions or surveys regarding our perspectives and experiences. How will you ensure that the information gained through these efforts gets translated into meaningful action? And Owen, you'll be going first for this after the reflection period. Was there a question, Eugene? Yeah. Give me 1 second.
I'm sorry, I think I it was a bit staticky for me. Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. So
Thank you.
the Student Assembly has been making efforts to provide constituents with spaces for discussions or surveys regarding our perspectives and experiences. How will you ensure that the information gained through these efforts gets translated into meaningful action? So I'll give you like 10 more seconds to think about that. Okay, Owen, whenever you're ready.
Sure. I think it's not a secret that Student Assembly needs to work on our communication to the student body. You know, that's something that people in SA have known is a problem for years, and it's something that we have been working towards when selecting our nominees for the outreach department and our outreach teams. And I think like we need to work with the outreach department specifically to create something like memos, like Huron alluded to, outlining the results of our meetings with the administration and the Board of Visitors. You know, I was at the recent Board of Visitors meeting in February, like I said, and when they do things like they turn down the results of our referendums that we put out and we don't say anything to the student body immediately, we allow disinformation to perpetuate. And I think that it doesn't help us and it makes our work in SA harder. Like I said earlier, we need to break down that wall between SA and non-SA. And I think that really starts with opening direct lines of communication to student organizations that are relevant to the issues that we're working on, because when those groups are involved in the decision-making process, then we can cut out that disinformation like right when it begins.
Thank you. Eugene?
Yeah, in prior years of Student Assembly, communication between the student body and Student Assembly is not always the clearest. People have to reach their own assumptions based on the limited knowledge that is provided to them through the SA website that is not sometimes regularly updated or immediately updated when it really should be. And that's on SA's part. I really do believe, though, that we've been improving that effort. We've been trying to push for more referendums that are gauging the student body on wide variety of issues, especially like pass and fail, in which we were able to then confidently write a resolution that's saying this is what the students want, or the renaming referendum, where we also said that this is confidently what the students want. They want to see renaming on campus, or they want to see pass fail implemented again to the Board of Visitors. So it's useful to have these data collecting information, but then with that knowledge, we then have to turn it into action. And I think that's something we can improve on, and I will continue to improve on as well.
Thank you. Kiran?
Thank you. So I believe that Eugene and Owen are right, that we are not getting the transparency from SA that we need. And this is exactly why I'm running, is because I want to open up transparency so that everyone has access to it and can understand what is going on in our student assembly and with administration. That's why I believe that a new face such as myself on SA would be a great way to help this out. But in terms of making sure that the students' voices are heard, first off, I think we need more student input. We need more referendums to happen. We need more people to discuss what they want to see in our community, so we're truly representing that. As representatives in SA, we are speaking for not only our class, but for the whole school community. So in order to have a full understanding of this, we need to talk to as many people as we have and open the dialogue as much as we can. But beyond this, we also have to put our needs and our students' needs first when we're talking to administration. Our communication with administration could be a lot stronger. And I believe that in numbers, we could be a lot greater and a louder voice if we not only mobilize student assembly to speak to administration and get our ideas put forward, but also give the students more of a chance to organize and push their voices as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Maheen?
Yeah, so those were some really, really great responses. I agree, transparency in student assembly is something that we are lacking in, but we are working in. You know, we live stream every single general meeting. We have forums that are posted all the time. We have referendums that are occurring. That being said, I definitely agree that there can be things that can be improved upon. But I think that's where you know, there's an advantage for more seasoned or experienced senators because we have those connections with admin and we're able to get the job done. And that's ultimately what the point that I'm trying to push across is that we have these opinions of students, we have this input from students, and we are working on initiatives to actually accomplish goals. And we have a lot of projects in the works that we don't want to let go of. We want to create lasting impact on campus. We want to make William & Mary better for the future. And so by listening to the voices of others and elevating them to the right people with the proper connections, we are able to do that. And of course, 110%, I will always advocate for listening to people's opinions and perspectives more and more. But I definitely have, the goods to back up my claims, and I can work with admin properly and effectively to do that efficiently.
Thank you. Shauna?
Yeah, thank you. I think something that's very important that everybody keeps mentioning is listening. Listening is very important, but once we listen, we have to keep those ideas and keep everything, all those experiences that students said at the forefront. Like the pass fail that Eugene has mentioned, hearing what people's concerns are and giving those to the administration, making those decisions on bills when we're voting, and keeping the ideas of students and what their feelings are at the forefront. It's no longer always about us and our feelings, but more about the other students that we're representing. Showing up to the events and the initiatives that we supported or that we passed, always showing that we are here for the students and not for ourselves, being selfless when we are representing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys all for your answers to that one. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our final question of the evening. And Eugene, we'll be starting with you for this one. What is a unique perspective, experience, or platform issue that sets your campaign apart? So once again, we'll have the 30-second reflection period. Okay, Eugene, whenever you're ready.
What an amazing question. I think that, first of all, everyone here is unique in their own way. And I think everyone here has a unique and very bright personality and possibly all fit to lead. And some of us here have shown it too as well. And I've got to see it firsthand. So just like to say that. But I think it's also important to say that, as a person, part of the AAPI community, I think I can confidently say I'm one of the only Korean senators in the student assembly. I think that's right off the bat, unique perspective. But one that's not often talked about enough is the financial knowledge that's needed to also be a part of Senate as well. The financial aspect of Senate is one of the most key essential things that really dictates what we do when it comes to financing different events for multicultural organizations or funding any sort of organization whatsoever. I've had that knowledge because I've been the finance chair and been part of finance committee for the past 2 years, finance chair this past session. So I think that I have that knowledge that is required to lead as well. And it's something that is really vital and needed in order to actively listen to the needs of multicultural organizations to be able to fund different events and their needs.
Thank you. Karan?
Thank you for the question. So I think that one of my most unique qualities is definitely being an outsider to SA, but an insider to what the students actually want. Now, I've been involved in many clubs on campus. I have many different connections to different people all across the campus and across the Williamsburg community. So I feel that many of these experiences, while they might not be directly involved in SA, bring a new fresh face to SA and can help us get new ideas circulated through SA so that we can actually start representing what students want a little bit more. Having an outside perspective and not having the same experience as other senators may be seen as a detriment, but I see it as a benefit because I actually come in with a fresh set of ideas and the plans on how to do that. Beyond that, I also have a plan for everything that I've laid out here. Every proposal that I've given you, every idea that I have a plan on how to get that done. I come in with a lot of fresh new ideas, and I believe that with these new ideas, we can definitely make our community stronger, and we can definitely make our community more representative of the greater school community as well.
Thank you. Maheen?
Yeah, so great responses again. Everyone here, I agree with Eugene, provides an extremely unique perspective. I myself am a POC, I'm a Pakistani American, and also the only Pakistani American in Senate currently. That being said, I am always looking to and seeking out people who are not represented on campus. And I want to reiterate the mistreatment of students with disabilities on campus right now. And that is something I had to go out and seek. People are ignoring minority groups on campus, and it's extremely terrible. And that's something that I've been working on. For example, finding out that SAS is not staffed and employed well enough to actually accommodate for students on campus. Finding out that the Cohen Career Center doesn't provide students with disabilities an opportunity to track out their future plans and employment. Those are, things that I had to look and seek out and talk to students about, and I'm really willing to do. I'm not a surface level individual. I have done so much for Student Assembly. I've put so much of my time and effort into what I do, and I'm truly passionate about it. And I think that comes across in all of the work that I've done and the unique perspective that I continue to bring to Student Assembly.
Thank you. Shauna?
Thank you. One unique experience that I think that I have is that I am mixed. I am both African American and white. And being from two different communities, it definitely was confusing at first, like that outsider feeling that you don't really fit in either one. But then you start to find your own path and see how, even though you don't fit in, there's so much similarities between the two. We all have similar things that we're all fighting for, that we're passionate about. And it's important to see these differences and embrace them, embrace the differences between the people. And that's why diversity and inclusivity is so important to me. It's never good to single people out, to single out the minorities and just only listen to the majority. Listening to everybody's voice, contributing to everybody's experiences is very important. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Owen.
I think what sets me apart is I'm one of the only candidates on this stage with both essay and non-essay experience. I don't lead when it suits me to, but when and where I'm needed most. When I ran for essay my freshman year, I didn't win, but I told myself that when I ran for sophomore year, that I would get involved regardless of the results. I would have applied for the executive branch had I not been successful last year, because I'm not just in it for the title of senator. I made this a prime message of my campaign, and students responded overwhelmingly on election day. As a senator, I jumped right in. I was elected a committee chair just days after I was sworn in, and I've sponsored or co-sponsored 10 bills, which is an extremely high number for a first-term senator. And I think I'm unique because I represent both change and experience. And I think I'm one of the only people not just in SA, but at William & Mary who can say that.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for answering all those questions. I really appreciated all of your answers. So now we're just going to hear brief 30-second closing statements from everyone. But just in the interest of being fair, I'm going to give you guys like a 15-second period to just kind of reflect on that and think about what you want to say. And Kiran, you will be going first for this at the end of the 15 seconds. Okay, Kiran, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for coming out. So basically, my final statement is that you've heard it from everyone up here that there are things that need to be fixed in SA, whether it's more transparency, more representation, or more communication. Those are definitely all issues that we all agree are very important. But I'm the only one up here who has an outsider perspective of what students actually want and want to see from SA. And I believe that with my plans and my strong leadership, I can make all of these plans a reality in SA. So thank you all, and I urge you to vote for me for senator.
Thank you. Maheen?
Yeah, I would like to just reiterate that. Thank you so much for everyone who's been here and who is supporting all of us. I want to reiterate that even though we are some of us are seasoned senators, that doesn't mean that we have any less opinions or that we are not doing the work or not listening to students. I think that actually means the opposite. I've been listening since day one. I will continue to listen. I have authored and co-authored so much legislation in Student Assembly. I'm currently the Secretary of Senate. I served as the the Secretary of Finance last year. And so I've done a lot and I'm going to continue to do a lot. Student Assembly is my passion and it will continue to be my passion. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Shauna?
Yeah. Thank you for everybody that put this on. I really appreciate it. Representation is always important. Always having someone that can represent you, can hear your needs, can hear your experiences on campus. I have joined many organizations, many clubs, many initiatives to hear these problems, to hear what the students are concerned about. And I will continue to do so, continue to listen to everybody and try to increase transparency, diversity, inclusivity on campus. Thank you.
Thank you. Owen?
Yeah, I just also wanted to say thank you all for coming, and for those of you who are watching online. I wanted to say that I'm so proud of everyone who is running. You know, serving as your senator for the last year has been one of the greatest honors of my life, and I'm so excited to see what we can accomplish together should you entrust me with another term. You can reach me at any time at orwilliams@email.wm.edu, and you can follow my campaign at Owen for Senator on Instagram. I'm available for you around the clock. For new ideas, strong leadership, and effective results, vote Owen Williams for Senator on April 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. And then finally, Eugene.
I would just again like to reiterate what Owen said. Thank you to the people who are in the audience right now and who came to watch online. I would just like to say that we are also still in the middle of a pandemic. Right now, what we need most are experienced leaders who have experienced the processes needed to write bills, draft bills, listen to student leaders on campus, and to get work done quickly. And that's what we've done for the past 2 years. Some of us 1 year. Some of us have more experience than others, and I believe that you can look at our experience, look at the bills that we've written, look at the legislation that we co-sponsored and sponsored or supported, and just look at our record, and I think it will show everything there. So I would be extremely honored if elected to another term as senator, because I'll continue to be an advocate for you.
Okay. So thank you to everyone for being here tonight. Thank you all. Thank you to the candidates for answering the questions. Thank you, Connor, for your speech earlier in the evening. So to learn more about the candidates, for those of you who are watching, please feel free to check out ballot statements, platform videos, and campaign websites and social media accounts on the candidates page on the Student Assembly elections website. We'll be hosting another one of these town halls on Monday, March 29th for the candidates that will be running for student body president and vice president. And the details for that event are available on TribeLink for those of you who are interested and or available. Please continue to submit any questions that you would like those candidates to answer on the online form that's on the Student Happenings website. And we look forward to seeing you guys there. So Maheen, did you have a quick question before we end? Oh, sorry. Keep forgetting I have to do the unmute thing.
Where can we find the candidate platform videos?
Yeah, so there's the link to the Student Assembly elections website. I can find that link for you, and I'll be able to send that to you probably afterwards, or I can have Will do that after the event, just because I don't have that handy on me right now. So we'll be able to collect that link, and then we can send that out to everyone so that everyone will be able to have access to all that information.
Yeah, and there are links inside, like on the page, that will take you to the YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
All right, if there was nothing else, thank you all so much for coming, and I hope you all have a wonderful night.